All right, people. This is the Need to Know Crosstalk show. My name's Zeke Dorset, and I am here for the last part of the five-part series with Mr. Harry Matadeen. This is the dry fasting and the five elemental currencies series, and we're on the last episode, so it's really good to have you back, Harry. I apologise for the timing on this. We've sort of missed each other. And you've done something, I've done something, I've overslept, you've been busy, but we're here. Space is collective. And how are you? How's things?
I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad, mate. I'm just happy to do this five-part series. I really enjoyed the first four with you. They were great fun to be in your house and doing that. So now we're doing this five one. I'm excited to get more information, because I love to talk about health, and so do you, and share knowledge with people. So yeah, I'm happy to roll with the ether, I believe you want to talk about today,
Absolutely.
right? Dry fasting.
Absolutely. It's the last part of the elements, pardon me, of the elements that we're going to be talking about, which is in connection with dry fasting and the ether. So this will be quite interesting. Again, I've got a few things on my laptop here, so forgive me if I'm going to be like this, but I'll be rolling a few bits and bits here and there, and we can just bump heads. And
to be honest with you, I really like the style of you doing that. I've rewatched some of them we've done together, and I like the way you do it, like putting information out there, because it makes me think, and it makes the audience think too. It's not just my bias, it's your bias, it's the information from other people. It's kind of useful to have, so appreciate it.
All right, so again, like I always share, I always like to chuck out the what out there. So maybe you want to touch base on a little bit of what you think the ether is, and I'll jump in. And I've got a couple of bits here specifically what the ether is.
Do you want to go first? Do you want to go first with the ether to prime me a little bit?
Yeah.
Go first with
Okay, cool. So this is something actually just pulled off of Wikipedia. So the ether, according to ancient and medieval science, ether, also spelled ether or ether, A-E-T-H-E-R or E-T-H-E-R, are also called quintessence, is the material that fills the region of the universe above the terrestrial sphere. So just to let everybody know what the terrestrial sphere is all about. It's the sublunary sphere. The sublunary sphere is the region of the geocentric cosmos below the moon, consisting of the four classical elements: earth, water, air, fire. So going back to what I was going on about. The concept of ether was used in several theories to explain several natural phenomena, such as the travelling of light and gravity. So that's right, obviously. In the late 19th century, physicians postulated that ether permeated all throughout space, providing a medium through which light could travel in a vacuum. But evidence for the presence of such a medium was not found in the Michelson-Morley experiment, and this result has been interpreted as meaning that no such luminiferous ether exists, which is very debatable. But so it's the overall. It's everything. It's. I like to say it's the glue. The ether is almost like the glue. It puts everything in its. It's like the. It's like the membrane, almost. Do you know what I mean? It's like a glue that allows everything to be able to function within it. So and it's also classed as the fifth element. They call it the fifth element. So rightly so that we've done it in the fifth episode as well. It's connected to Plato as well. So is there anything you wanted to add on that? What the ether is, or what you feel the ether is?
I'll give you my interpretation of it, which might not be interpretation of the actual ether. What's going through my mind is like the present moment, I guess. That's my bias towards it. Like, it's all that, well, I'm not saying the ether is this, but what I do like the idea of is the present moment. Like, all there ever is just that infinite space of everything permeates through the infinite present, right? And every moment that's present is all there ever is. There is no past and future. We're just living pieces of time in the present moment. And when we tap into that, to my mind, I link it with the present meditation, all these kind of practices. we are kind of like you said, we're all attaching all the elements, because what's the connection between all four elements? It's the present. Everything is in the present. And when we pull ourselves away from the present, in my opinion, is where people go wrong. We get stress, disease, negativity, unhealth, and disease. That's pulling ourselves away from, you could say, Ether, but, you know, present moment. That's where all problems lie. Like from the start of life, from a baby to a child that's present, to an adult that, you know, loses his self-esteem and presence and confidence because of uni and school and matrix and the jobs they don't like. So we're pulled away constantly from in my mind, we're pulled away from whatever you want to call it, Ether, presence, meditation, infinite consciousness. That's and the degree to which we're pulled away is the degree to which people get unhealthy, in my opinion, you know.
Okay.
I realize it's a side tangent, bro, but I'm trying to figure out what my version of the Ether would be.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's all good. There's just a little bit more I'll add on here, and then it might just spark a few.
Please do. Yeah.
So going off the fifth element, Plato is obviously someone who mentions this, and he mentions that there is the most translucent kind, which is called by the name of Aether, but otherwise he adopted the classical system of four elements. Aristotle, who has been Plato's student at the Academia, agreed on this point with his former mentor, emphasizing additionally that fire sometimes has been mistaken for Aether. However, in his book on the Heavens, he introduced a new first element to the system of the classical elements of Ionian philosophy. Cutting through some of that, we go to Aether did not follow Aristotelian physics either. Aether was also incapable of motion of quality or motion of quantity. Aether was only capable of local motion. Does that ring a bell? Is that sort of, I think that's sort of going with what you were trying to say, as in it's in the in the now. Bear with me. Aether naturally moved in circles and had no contrary or unnatural motion. Aristotle also noted that crystalline spheres made of Aether held the celestial bodies. So he's talking about stars, obviously.
Okay.
The idea of crystalline spheres and natural circular motion of Aether led to Aristotle's explanation of the observed orbits of stars and planets in perfectly circular motion in crystalline Aether. So, and there's a little bit on quintessence as well, which I quite like that word. It's quite a
interesting word. Quintessence.
Very interesting. Quintessence is the Latinate name of the fifth element used by medieval alchemists for a medium similar or identical to that thought to make up the heavenly bodies. It was noted that there was very little presence of quintessence within the terrestrial sphere. Due to the low presence of quintessence, Earth could be affected by what takes place within the heavenly bodies. This theory was developed in the 14th century text, attributed to Raymond Lull. The use of quintessence became popular within medieval alchemy. Quintessence stemmed from the medieval elemental system, rolling from that. So, yeah.
What's Ether to you, mate? What's your opinion on Ether if you had to describe it? We'll go deep a little bit with
Well, it's the space within the space, kind of. It's like it's what you're in right now. Is the glue. I almost say like it's the glue that fits everything together. About the Ether, fire, air, water, earth has no weight in the sense of it wouldn't be able to function without being cocooned almost in this glue that we're in. Allows for everything to function, if that makes sense. That's what I see what the Ether is all about, and going a little bit more deeper with what the Ether means to me and connecting it to dry fasting is talking about the spaces within the spaces is to be able to connect to higher realms or to connect to higher into higher frequency. So in terms of meditation, in terms of possibly lucid dreaming, astral projecting. I'm talking about these things. The ether is the sort of next level. Sort of, it's the middleman. It's the telephone line. It's the Ethernet. Do you know what I mean? It allows you to take that connection and go to that next level if you're in sync, or if you can actually hit those frequencies. That's kind of where, I don't know, maybe that doesn't make too much sense, but that's kind of, it's the next level up from where we are. If that
yeah, well, that does make sense, mate, to me. Yeah, I like that. So you're saying like, you see, I'm going to be big on lucid dreaming. I think this is a really important topic. Astral projection, lucid dreamings, to me, are the key to realizing that, you know, this body is not what you think it is. This realm that we think that we exist, in my opinion, is not all there is. And you can do it with psychedelic drugs, but I think the best natural way to do it, you can do it with fasting. Dry fasting is brilliant, actually. There's a connection in my mind between dry fasting and lucid dreaming. Because when you get really healthy and dry fast, I found that I can lucid dream. The few times I've done lucid dreaming, I did one with your house, actually, I told you about. The few times I've done the lucid dreaming accidentally is because I was dry fasting over the night for a long period.
And that's interesting. Yeah. Sorry, Karen, continue, please. Yeah.
I feel like the healthier you are, the easier it is to get out of your body.
Right.
This is, to me, like, the lighter your body is, the easier you're going to find it to lucid dream. The more dense you are, and also, if you don't believe, by the way, if you don't believe lucid dreaming is possible, you won't do it too. So you're going to have the belief, the reality that it's true, and then you do something like dry fasting, and you elevate your body to a light. Yeah, you're light. You're not putting any food or water in. You become really light, and then you do something that they say in astral projection, which is keep your body still for a long period of time whilst you're asleep or in bed. Not asleep, actually, lying in bed. You know, just keep your body still. Don't put your hands together. Lie out flat to your back. Half an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, if you want, if you can, and you will more likely manifest a lucid dream in which you are awake within the dream. And then they say, I've not done this a lot, lucid dreaming enough to say this, but if you do it consistently, they say that you start to get confused about what's real. I guess this makes sense to me. If we did lucid dreaming regularly, and it feels real, right? Because you're controlling the dream.
Yeah.
You would start to question our reality. We'd be like, are we dreaming right now, or what is real? Once you start doing it, you realize what is real. Is this waking life real, or is the lucid dream real? Because in order to achieve a lucid dream, you have to constantly question your reality, what we're doing now. What me and you do now is like, we think we're alive. We think this is real, right? But we need to start questioning our reality all the time. Like, am I actually awake right now, or am I dreaming, right? And when we do this in our waking state, then we make it easier to practice that in our lucid dream state. Then lucid dream, when we're dreaming, we'll be like, wait a second, is this a dream? Because how often do me and you go around in the daytime, or anyone goes around and says, am I dreaming right now? I never say that. I don't know about you, bro. Do you say that?
Yeah, no, no is the answer to that. No, I'm definitely not in tune with that. I'm definitely question myself more in my head rather than talking sort of externally so much and questioning what's going in that sort of sense. Like, yeah, I talk to myself a lot, but I definitely don't question where I am regularly all the time, which I can absolutely resonate with what you're saying, actually being on top of your game and registering one foot in front of the other. It sounds a bit anal, one foot within the other, and questioning where you're going, the journey you're going to take, the faces that you're seeing, being able to do a 360 around your environment, if that makes sense, around your people, around where you are, and actually take it all in and question what's going on here. Is this, am I projecting this, or is this almost being simulated for me? I don't do that enough, and that would be quite an interesting concept to experience, especially when you're encountering dry fasting. So you're becoming light in the sense you're losing weight, not as in how way heavy you are, but eventually your body takes a transition where you have to, things come up to the surface. Maybe you can enlighten me on this a little bit more, but with dry fasting, or fasting in general, things come to the surface, whether it would be emotions or moods, or illnesses or pains, aches, whatever it may be. Things come to the surface, they become exposed. You become more vulnerable but also at the same time you become more clean in the sense of you're not hiding anything because everything's being released. Now's the journey. Now's the time where you're almost at that, well, I wouldn't say tipping point, but you almost have to see everything for what it is when you become more cleaner. So you become light, and then at the same time you have to use your light to excel and advance at the same time, like your inner light, which is something that you're deep into at this present moment as well. So maybe I was gibbering on a little bit on there, but just before you jump in and take a little bit more in, it's another website here called paradoxicalvista.org, and it's just saying connecting to the ether. I'll read a few bits off of this, but I'll just read this short snippet. It says, many famous mathematicians and physicians have spoken about the ether at great length. The ether is a transmission medium for the propagation of electromagnetic and gravitational forces. The best way to describe the ether would be to say the empty space above our heads. However, it's far from being empty. Planet Earth is a rock being hurtled around our galaxy. The sun's gravitational pull locks the planets within our solar system. Our galaxy's core, in brackets, a black hole, keeps the sun on its journey around space and within the gravitational reach of the galactical center. Now, that's all debatable, but the gist of
I was going to say that is pretty not in line with how I believe the universe is, actually.
Yeah, definitely. It's all debatable, but the gist of what I was trying to get at is it's the containment. It's not the containment. It's the ether. To me, is
everything, right? Everything that ever is.
Yeah, exactly. When you look into the sky and you see the stars and you see or you look in the day and you see the clouds and this and that. What's in between all of that? Because that is the ether. That is the glue. That's what allows it to be there. You know, and those the connection between the ether allows for the other four elements to take place and to be able to do their thing through the ether and work their biz and work their magic accordingly. And also it's almost like a infinite, what it is, an infinite tapping in system. It's like a phone line, essentially. I kind of feel like it's and it allows you to tap into many, many frequencies depending on how clued up, how initiated the individual is. So,
I mean, one of them being dry fasting is a great way to tap into those frequencies. Like we talked about in the other videos, the sunlight is a great way. Urine therapy is a good way too, and getting pure air. All these ways we talked about before, they're good ways to tap into what we're going to call the ether, the thing that holds the structures together. That's why we've done these element series, because ultimately we're working our way up to the top. And you could argue, I guess, from what we're saying, the ether is the top. So these protocols that we put in place to dry fasting, urine, sunlight, and pure air, they all lead to a state of higher consciousness, I'd say, the present moment, and infinite consciousness, if we want to go there with that angle. And that's all there ever is, like the infinite space that everything's held together by the present moment. And to my mind, we're beings that don't die. We just carry on. We're infinite consciousness. So we're going back to the ether, and we're going to carry on continuing. There's such thing as body death. There's no such thing as soul death. Soul lives on forever and must manifest in the ether. We can't disappear. We are all that ever is. So we go to the ether and come back again and again, in a cycle.
Absolutely. And this is something that really needs to be under. There's some things that this is one thing that I feel we can definitely learn and engage on, like many other things, and get more information on. But the more cleaner you become, or should we say more lighter, more balanced as a spiritual being rather than a etherical being. As in, what I mean by that is attempting to work more inwardly and then expressing outwardly whatever's going on, being able to absorb information and and trying to not be judgmental. You'll find that this information resonates. It might be tainted, and that's up to the individual to research a bit more. You have to, as an individual, you need to find your own understanding of whatever it is you're searching. Otherwise, you're just going to be a product of someone else's information. So, you know, it's just the way it is. But yeah, for sure, the ether is very much real. It's very much infinite, and it can't die. And what you're saying about us not dying, it makes total sense. Like, because the problem is that we're looking. Many people look at things from an external point of view. We look at the body, we see the body die. You know, we see the body age and die, this and that, and no one can fathom what the soul is or what the spirit is, or whatever you want to call these things. And that's a really scary place to be, isn't it? Like, not knowing who you are. The fact that you're standing here, or you're speaking to me now, saying that we don't die, and I'm sure there's many people that can't really register that. You know, I'm not going to say I'm 100% on point on it, but it's something that I know I have to deep dive into too, because it resonates with me. That's what I'm trying to say. I know that there's some things you can't get the answer to, because it's already it's almost like you already know the answer. You are the answer. Do you know what I mean?
But I feel like you know the answer because you cleaned yourself up a little bit, and so have I. I feel like the lower your vibration and the less you do the things we talk about, the most unhealthy masses, unfortunately, they're away from these kind of mindsets and realities of the ether, because their physical body is too dense. So there's many bodies, but the physical body, the health aspect, the physical health, which is not a lot, by the way, that emotions, like we talked about in person, emotions are way more than physical. Yeah, but I mean, the physical body is very dense as well as their emotional body. So they don't know, most people, not the audience watching, I would have thought, but they don't know that the ether is possible, that there is life after death, because to them it just sounds like some crazy reality, because their body's too dense, they're in pain, suffering mentally, emotionally, physically. And I feel like, why we're doing this series as well, the more we clean up our body and become lighter, especially with dry fasting, and all of them really, aged urine and sunlight, the easier it is to resonate, I feel, with these kind of concepts, which also I feel are reality. And I'd say that what me and you are talking about is not just a concept. I'd say if you did something like psychedelics, you've had experience of this. I've had experience too. That there is more to life, and you know, you just go and explore the shadow, and you see the darkness of yourself when you do psychedelics. You see, maybe you have a moment of the ether, of experience of infinite consciousness, and there is more to life to it. And you will realize this when you undergo these protocols, that you'll resonate with the message. It doesn't mean 24/7 you're going to be in touch with the ether and God and consciousness. It doesn't. Life's not like that. We're in duality, unfortunately, you know, and it's a struggle in the duality. Even for people like us, sometimes we have problems too. But it's the reality at the end of the day. And what me and you are talking about, is we are drawing ourselves closer to a higher vibration state, where we are more in contact with the ether, if you want to put it like that, as than someone that's ill in the hospital and dying, or, you know, got a chronic pain and stuff. So
another little bit off there. paradoxicalvista.org. Can we connect to the ether? This brings us back to the ether, which is an energy system packed with a blanket of positively charged waves. We as humans, so just to stop on that quickly, positively charged waves.
That's interesting. I thought positive charged ions weren't good. I don't know, very basic knowledge. So saying positive.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not sure if they mean that as in positive, negative, or as in positive, as in needed almost, but I could be wrong, but agreed on. We as humans can actually connect to it, thus enabling ourselves to extract the stored data. We all radiate different frequencies and resonate distinctive vibrations. The good news is these can be tapped into. We have a built-in receiver that allows us to connect to this energy system. Ideas, creative thoughts, intuition, future events, and much more can be extracted. You can literally tap into other people's minds and absorb their thought processes. Now that makes a lot of sense, because I've shared, I haven't shared actually a lot, but I've looked into a little bit more on words, and the brain and the mind for me are two different things. So the brain is the makeup of, it's the physical aspect of where the mind resides, or where we can tap in to to the mind, which I like to call the mind hive, because the mind can again be mistaken as if, for example, one person could be sharing that they are tapping into their mind as if it's their own. But the mind hive to me is a collective. So anything that I think or have thought of or will think of in my whole life experience, I'm very confident that it's already been done, and it's almost like I'm tapped into a universal library, and I'm just taking books off shelves. And I have.
Has that happened to you then? Has that happened to you? Like a genuine feeling of like you're tapping into knowledge from like not you, it's kind of coming through you, you're saying?
Yeah, well, how long ago? Probably a couple of years ago now, I kind of had that. I had that thought where I came to realise that no, it's longer than that, but probably a couple of years ago where I was looking at the brain and the mind and realising they're not the same thing. And I was confident that the mind hive was to me like a universal library, and I sat back and thought, there's just no way, there just can't be in any way, shape or form. Yes, I'm in this vessel, but everything I've done, everything I've made, created, been part of, tapped into, spoke of, said, whatever, knowing that everything's energy, frequency, comes in sound, colour, whatever. It's already been done. It's already made. It's already been cut, shaped, formed, fashioned. I'm just regurgitating it, basically. Do you know what I mean? I'm just replicating it. Do you know what I mean? It's gone and it will come and go again. So for me to even think that anything that I do is brand new would be human.
Our humans at the end of the day. You go.
Would be very, very human. So yeah, I mean, let's tap into dry fasting a little bit more. So I want to see what your thoughts are. We tapped a little bit on astral projecting. I want to know a little bit more on your thoughts and your experiences on meditational exercises, pointers, and how you've advanced or how you've increased in areas, decreased in areas, recommendations, what Harry's pointers, let us know.
Yeah, that's interesting you said that, because the last week or so I've not done meditation for a long time, bro, being honest. Last week I just got back on it because I thought I need to enhance the vessel, do some things. So my version of meditation, there's many, it's just the present moment. So what I do is I look at, okay, I've got senses, I've got nose, I've got smell, that's a bit of an unreliable one. You've got the ears, that might be unreliable too, because there might be no noise, but you've got sight, and you've got sound, and you've got breath. And breath, of all of them, the one you can rely on that's always doing something, that's keeping you going, is the breath. So that's the one my go-to. So just to realize that you're breathing and to think of breathing, but here's the key. Your body is going to be so used to not being present that it's going to try and control the breath. But you have to be okay when you're watching the breath with the fact that your ego, in my opinion, is going to try and control the breath. It's going to try and put you off a little bit, because I think most of us are so wrapped up in our heads, we don't want to be in the present moment, and it's a habit not to be. So what we do is we control it with our breath. We control the breath, but you've got to be okay with every step of whatever meditation you do. So if you're looking at whatever you're doing, if you're looking at something, be okay for your mind to wander and go back to it. If you're listening to the birds in the morning, just focus on the birds and then listen, and then just be okay that your mind wandered and go back to it. And it's like a muscle. Meditation to me, and being present moment, tapping into ether, is like a muscle. You just got to train yourself, and each time you do it, you get a bit stronger, and then you don't have to use as much willpower, and then you can advance to the next level of consciousness. So you do 10 minutes of meditation a day, and then you make that habit, and you get a level one consciousness to your version. Then you do another 10 minutes a day. No, not even that. You just stick to that. You stay at level 1. You do it, and it becomes easier to do a little bit longer. Maybe try another different type of meditation. Maybe not breath. Maybe you're watching a movie and should I tell you something? Whilst you were talking, I was listening to you, but I was practicing presence at times to elevate my state. What I was doing was I was looking at the tablet but not all the time, by the way. I tried as much as I could. I was looking at the tablet, but I was really looking at the tablet because what I noticed is this is to everybody, bro. When we interview, when we're in person, look, I don't like to admit it, but this is the truth. Sometimes we're not fully present with the person that we're listening to. It's really fucking hard. But if you practice at like little moments in life, you could basically what I'm saying is you can practice presence with a person, by yourself, with the breath, every 24/7 is how I look at it. You've got access to a healing modality called meditation 24/7 in your life. Doesn't matter if you're by yourself or with a person, and that will elevate your consciousness. That is the ether to me. That is the medicine. That is why I believe some people are happy without doing any physical health protocols, because they're just born happy, but they're actually born present moment training. They're always in the present moment and they never lose it as a kid. They go through school and they just never lose their presence because there's no fear, bro. They got no fear. They got no reason to lose their confidence. They were cool at school. They were, it was all right with the girls and what shit. So those are the lucky ones in life. To me, they don't have to do physical health too much because they're just like present moment people. They're very inspiring have you met somebody that's into present moment? You can just tell they're always present and you're like, what the fuck? They're not my smartest. You met somebody like that?
Yeah. I was thinking of a friend of mine that I interviewed a few episodes ago, Dan Glanville. It was one of his friends a little while back. Chris, his name was. I can't remember. It was around his house. It was many moons ago now, years ago. It was a bar or something, or drinks or something like that we was doing at the time. And this guy just had this incredible presence. Like, I can't describe it. It was like warm, vibrating, and he was just honest, truthful, engaging, just love, if you want to call it. And it was just the most amazing feeling to just be around him. You felt charged, and he just had this confident smile on him. You know what I mean? It was just.
Was he non-judgmental then? Just like non-judgmental attitude?
It was just real. If that makes sense, and was who he was, him. It wasn't. There were no masks. It was just. It's very difficult to sort of, especially when you've been in an environment where, you're around masks on a regular basis, whether they be negative or positive, and it's almost like you're wrapping yourself around. You become wrapped around after many cycles, planetary cycles. The biofilms get wrapped around you until you lose sense of who you are, and you forget actually your true meaning of, or your goal of what you're trying to achieve, which is to be who you are. This guy just had it. You know what I mean? It was real. So it was almost.
Would you say that would you say he consciously got it, or he always had it, and he doesn't know how to teach it? Is he unconsciously? Isn't it cool if he's unconscious? Was he unconsciously doing it? Always had it, or has he learned how to do it? Because you can learn it, I guess, too. Right?
It was both. He definitely had something from a young age. He wasn't very old. He's in his 20s, early 20s, really young, really early 20s. But he was just, I think humble's too polite. Like, the key thing is like language just screws things up. What I felt was very real. It was like, it's almost like you could have just put a charger in him, and your phone would have just charged up quite neatly, and it was that charged. It was like, wow, like, incredible. And he was just so humble with it. And I don't think that gives it any sort of a weight at all, saying humble. But yeah, no, it was a great feeling. But I've got a couple of things that I just want to talk on. It's not a metaphor, but the ether to me, it was like, because you're talking about going on higher levels. With practice with meditation, sorry. And I kind of thought of, I think we've all had this problem. If we've all had mobile phones or a tablet or laptop or anything, and you have a faulty charger with the wire, and you have to bend it a certain way and it'll charge, and when you let it go, it stops charging. And that's kind of really how I see, because it's the connection. It's from the mains and the phone would be us, and the mains is the ether. So having that Ethernet, the connection, the wire. If you've got a dodgy wire and you're constantly going in and out, it's yes, it will be problematic, but you're not going to get the best connection, obviously, and the frequency is going to be dodgy because you're going to be going in and out. So it takes practice, as you were saying, to get a really good connection, and with practice, eventually you'll upgrade and get a better wire.
It gets even deeper than that, though. It's not just practice. You have to understand that we've all been damaged by the Matrix, all of us, me, you, and everyone that's watching this is somehow. But there's levels to this. So someone might have been damaged even more in terms of they're so negative with their mindset, and it's so deep that they're going to have to dig. No, wait, it gets worse. Like, they're so fucked up in their minds, and I've certainly been like this, and probably you too, that it pulls you away from the present moment ether. So the more fucked up you go, the more in thought you go, the more you pull yourself away from the ether, the harder it's going to be. Certainly, I'll speak from my experience. I know my journey is going to be long, and I admire what I've done, but I've got a long way. I'm proud, but I also recognize, spoke about this on Saturday, it's weird. I've got a long way to go because I've fucked my connection to what you call the universe. I fucked it up, my connection to universal source. So I have to pull. I'm playing at a level where I can go up to level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, but I realize that my level 1 is a lot lower than your average Joe's that's asleep even. Their level in terms of presence, not in terms of physical health. In terms of physical health, I'm above you. Me and you, we're way above a lot of average people. But in terms of the ether and the present moment, I recognize that, self-esteem damaged. I'm a little bit like, I've got a lot more work to get to the present. It's going to take a lot more, but that's cool. You just got to be happy with going up in your level. So you'd be happy that you're doing level 1 now for you. You're going up to level 2, your version of level 7, without getting carried away, knowing that, say I met your friend, I shouldn't be like envious and jealous that he's in that position. I should be like you did, like you're with him. You recognize his goodness, and you can what's the word for it? You want to be friends with that. You want to be friends, and so should I. That's how we should look at life. We don't want to be like, oh, that person's more happy than me. No, it's not a game like that. It's about, how can I learn from this individual? Can I be around people like that, and can they inspire me so that I can up my game to new levels, right?
Yeah, totally. Thanks for adding that. But yeah, there was something else I was going to add on to that, which was very interesting and in connection with the planetary cycles that we take on board on a yearly cycle. And it's almost like and a teacher that I follow actually shared this quite well, which resonated with me a lot, which is Seven Boma. And it's almost like, and it is like it's almost like when you take a yearly cycle and you're in the zone of whatever you're doing, and you're not in sync with who you are, you create a biofilm around you, like a membrane. And he was connecting it with how shells work. So over the years, they create another layer, another layer, another layer. And it's the same sense of how we act, how we play this game. We age, we grow layers, more layers, and you become entangled more and more and more. And what's happening with individuals like me and many others, yourself, is that now that we're trying to break through these films, there's so many of them that it's so many. You see where I'm coming from? It's like, and you're trying to pierce through the veil, and it takes time.
And you know what? I think that's why a lot of people never do it. They're asleep in the Matrix. That's why they never do it, because they've also got a lot of layers too. But they have a point. I think everyone has a point where they have a choice to like go through those layers, and they know it's going to take a long time. But I think most people don't make that decision. And to be honest with you, I'm glad I did. But my God, it's very hard to try and be happy with each level of layer, because you know what? You break through one layer, as you know, you break through one layer, and then there's another layer, and you think, okay, well, next layer, I'm going to be complete now. I'm going to get it done. That's it. I'm going to be going to be where I'm supposed to be. And then there's another layer and another layer, and it's never ending.
And yeah, totally. And I'd love to say it's easy, but it's not. There's almost like there's protocols in the sense of, when you're tackling a layer, it's like you can kind of look at it as if the way we're looking at dry fasting or nutrition as a whole. By doing a detox and doing a cleansing regime, and then coming in to look at maintenance, regime. You know, you've got to be in line. You don't just jump, oh yeah, I've done it, yeah, lovely, walk on, next one. It don't work. You've created this, you've solidified, it's crystallized around you, broken it, now you've shattered it, and now it's your time to pick up those pieces, clean it up, and be rid of it, and really understand, because it's all that crystallization would have held emotions, feelings, mood cycles, and all these things, and you need to almost defred these. You need to break them up, look at them, and then go, okay, do I want this? Do I want that? If you don't, you know what I mean? It's like you're defragmenting, literally. And then once you've done that process, you move on to the next cycle. And it can be quite daunting, quite draining. People
can be. And you know what, as well, from my point of view, you can't experience validation and ego into this. You know why? There's no one that's going to know the true depth of what you're experiencing and what you're overcoming and what you've been through. There's no one that can really understand the effort you're putting into this process. So there's no validation ego in it at all. This is a very personal journey, and that makes it a little bit harder, because this is just about you and your beliefs about why you're doing this. Why are you breaking through layer and layer and layer? Why are you doing it? You have to have motivation for yourself and yourself only. It's no good for like, oh, I'm doing it for my sister. No, for anyone else. It has to be, it's a personal journey. And as much as we can support each other, I can't do it for you and you can't do it for me, and no one can do it for each other. It's all about, you know, facing the shadow and blasting through, mate.
Absolutely. That's definitely, thank you for sharing that. This is, I feel like, sorry, you have to forgive me. I think I might have to do a slight transition. I'm just going to double check. I think my housemate is next door now. But if that's the case, I'll be going downstairs. But I'm all right for now because it's not 10 o'clock. But yeah, that's why the topic of the ether is really, really important, and the connections with meditation. Like, this is a big deal. This is something that I feel meditation should be taught from a young age. We should be taught this at school. Like, this is, and there's a reason behind it. It could be controversial, but I don't believe in coincidences, because you can see the disengagement with many of us within the realities that we live in, within the mutually assured reality that we live in, which is very destructive, very out of place. Like, it's like there's not even missing pieces to the puzzle, but it's almost like inauthentic pieces have been added to the puzzle that to fit, but just shouldn't be there. That's kind of the reality that we're living in now. Everything is artificial, it's almost attempting to look artificial with a slight entanglement of organic. That's how brutal the overlays have been put over us now. Like the
imagine this
cleansing is bleak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, sorry, please.
It's very scary. I'm just going to relate to what you said about children and meditation. Now, I don't think children particularly need more enhancement of the present, you could argue, because they're very present at the moment anyway. But if we did have, like, for example, children teaching meditation in school, what that's going to do is make them even more present to the moment, to the universal consciousness ether. And then they're going to remember that as adults, that they experienced that high, which is much higher than a child that didn't have meditation in their life. And they're going to carry that through. That basically, I think the system's set up on purpose so that children who are already godly creatures connected to the ether, they're going to access it too easy with meditation, and that's going to change society too much. If every child got taught meditation, that would change. Every child would know the truth about the ether, and they'd naturally want to do it as an adult because they've already done it as a kid and experienced it. And that's the problem. That's one of the reasons why they don't want to teach you that stuff in school. Forget about, if you're being honest, we talked about this in person. Like, there's a lot of things that don't teach in school important, like enemas, physical health, finance, business, happiness. But the most important really is the ether to me, just thinking about it now, because that is the truth of who we are, the space in between the space that conjoins everything. And that's the higher consciousness vibe and the lightness of being. And if a kid accesses that, then when they become an adult, what's the odds of them being an awesome adult? Very high, I would have thought, right?
Absolutely. Very sure. Yeah, very sure. I was just remembering forget his name. I think he's called Jay Shetty. I watched one of his videos a little while back. He was talking about because he done some Buddhism. So he went out for 4 years and he was searching, and it was his thing, and he got a lot from it, great. But he was talking about some young children in the tribe that he was in, and you know, from the age of like 4 years old, these kids are taught how to, and this is going slightly off of the Aether, but these kids are taught how to breathe. Like they're going to learn how to breathe. And it's just like, you bring that to the Western world and you just think, it don't make sense. Like, it don't make sense. But this kid, and knowing what we know more and still learning, and how to oxygenate the body and how the benefits and the enhancements you can bring to yourself through just breathing, posture, and allowing to exercise the elemental currencies that we've been going on in this 5-part series, you know, to execute them as much as possible as you know, and utilize them to upgrade yourself. This is just incredible. And these kids are learning at 4 years of age, and it's almost like I wouldn't say we're going backwards. We've just started late. We're starting the cycle at a slightly slower pace. But and you know, about the biofilms that we've been wrapped around. So from age, you've only got a couple.
Yeah,
a couple of
exactly.
things. It's going to be a lot easier for you to pierce that veil, or like to feel. So, you know, you see what I mean? So, you know, definitely a lot of compassion needs to come from this as well for when we share this. So anyone who is watching this, you know, feeling a synchronicity of what we're going on about here. You are loved. Compassion is sent your way for sure. Send it my way, please. It's a journey that we can always share. This is the whole point of the Need to Know Crosstalk show, is to share these experiences and hopefully be able to learn and grow from these and pass on next level information, you know, because this is needed. This is very much needed. So what I'm going to say is, if you could just hold on for 2 minutes.
Yep.
Stay on the line. I'm going to transfer myself from here to downstairs. I'm just going to so just hold on.
Sure, mate. Yeah.
All right. Come on, a minute.
We've got a lovely view of the curtains.
All right.
Lovely view of the curtains, mate.
Like them.
Yeah, nice, man. Yeah.
Be 1 minute. I'm just need to close the door upstairs.
Sure. Yeah.
You have to forgive me there, because washing machine's on. You might be able to hear that. But
I can't hear it. I think
great. Yeah, so going back to what we were talking about, so we're in, sounds like we're syncing quite a lot with how we feel about what the Aether means to us, and let's not rewind, but let's rekindle what dry fasting can
do for
can. What do you think dry fasting can um, encourage us if we are on the journey of attempting to connect with the ether on a more permanent basis? Yes, there are ways to dry fast. Maybe you want to jump into a little bit of that, but what can we most definitely expect to see, or if that is the right word, to experience with dry fasting, and then attempting to re-engage with meditational work? Because some of us might, for example, might have that monkey mind. I'm sure we're all aware of that, might have that monkey mind thing going on. And meditation, if I can just let this one out here as well, from my brother Bobby Toombs, who shared this and resonated with me very well, is that, you know, some people do have the monkey mind thing going on. So to meditate in that lotus position and whatnot and be still is very difficult. It's very, very difficult if you can't be at ease with yourself in that space, in that moment. So meditation can be looked at in different ways. Go for a walk. You could do some exercise. That's a form of meditation. It could be all sorts.
Would you say that all these things you have to be present when you're doing the walking? You say, are you being present to the moment when you're walking? Is that what you're saying? Like trying to realize what you're doing, or is it, or doing unconscious?
Present to the moment is vital. I feel that's the whole point of what you're attempting to do with meditation in the first place, is to be where you are, right there, in the second, to the second. Do you know what I mean? Rather than, because that's what happens when we meditate. Our brain tends to float away, doesn't it, and chuck us into a past or future event. So we're trying to almost bring them both together and come back into the now. So yeah, if you're going for a walk, obviously there will be protocols that I could, for example, say, and it's going back to the 5 elements again, or should we say the 4 elements? So definitely focusing on breathing. If you're going for a walk, for example, you can definitely focus on your breath, inhalation, soft exhalation, or deep, however you're walking. Also, you could focus on external things like a bird, for example. You could focus on a bird and really take notice of what you're actually experiencing. Look at the color, look at the shape, look at the eyes, look at the, you know, and experience the bird. Not just go, oh, it's a bird because you've learned that it's called a bird, B-I-R-D. No. Live it. Live and be the bird. Be with it. Does that make sense? You know, this is what you're sharing on earlier. We don't do this enough. We're not in the present moment. What are these benefits by doing this sort of work? You know, maybe I should add another example, sorry. So that's walking for one example. Another one could be exercise. And exercise, obviously, the benefits of exercise is amazing. It's releasing endorphins and all sorts of other.
Do you think that exercise puts you in the present moment? I feel like exercise puts you in the present moment sometimes. It chucks you in there to it. Like, it helps you get to it.
Yeah, definitely. You have no choice because you're physically having to push your physical body into what's the correct word? It's not extreme. It's under pressure. So therefore, you maintain. You're almost at. It's almost like you're putting yourself in that flight or flight mode. If that makes sense. Yeah. You're under pressure, so you have to be in the moment. You can't be thinking about what dinner's like while doing 20. Like, doing press ups. It's not going to work. You're probably going to fail quite quickly. You know what I mean? So exercise is really quite an amazing, especially if you have that monkey mind situation going on. Like, it can be quite a powerful asset to slowly integrate in how you can mindfully be in the present moment. until you can maybe take a step back and start doing 5-minute meditational practices in a stillness position or in a quiet position. Do you know what I mean? Rather than actually trying to use external things, and then slowly bringing all those exercises into just one, which is just stillness. That's really what we're trying to go for, you know. And some people use touch in the sense of, you know, I don't know, you might have your dog there. Sound a bit funny, but actually experience your dog and what does she feel like? Look at her eyes.
It's kind of hard to be unconscious when you're doing that stuff. Like when you've got a pet, it's really hard to be unconscious, isn't it? Because they push you into the present. You know, they're pleasure. They're what's the word for it? Unconditional loving creatures. So I think all pets push us into the present, especially dogs. And you know, when we love them, you know, I feel like that.
Do you have pets?
No, not at all, bro. But I would love when I live by myself. I'm definitely going to get a dog for sure. Like I know they're going to be good health wise.
I've got a few things here. I'm still on that site paradoxicalvista.org, and it's got a list of a few things here how we can achieve connecting to the ether. So I just want to see if any of this resonates with you, and whether they can connect to dry fasting. Sometimes when you think you have come up with an original product, concept or book idea, after some research you might find out the idea already exists. I think we just touched base on that already. This is past or existing data. If you write, sometimes you just start typing and then read over what you have created. You have no idea where this came from. It's like something else gave you the information. That's quite interesting because I've done that before.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
You're lying in the bath, taking a shower, driving on a long distance journey. You get ideas for songs, poems, books, films, or business ideas. This is you tapping into the shared energy system that surrounds you. Mind over. You may even daydream, which we all do. Unfortunately, that can be, this is me adding on to this, the daydream part. A lot of us unconsciously daydream and don't have the magic to be able to turn that daydream into an action. It's almost like a fairy tale. You know what I mean?
Well, it's literally a daydream then. It's literally it's a daydream where it's never going to happen.
Absolutely.
It's
You're giving something a spark of energy.
Yeah.
Almost like, and it's getting a jump because you're thinking of it. And then actually,
I've got a question for you on that daydream. Yeah. Do you think though, even say someone has a daydream, but they're not going to manifest that into reality? They're not, even if they're not, do you not think that has benefits because that's making you feel good? Do you not think that's having health and happiness benefits? Because they are actually, isn't that spiking their happiness a little bit, even if they're never taking action? Do you not think that?
I would say be wary of it. I reckon I'd be more pushed towards it be hijacking there. It'll be a mask of positivity affair in the sense of it'd be great to think of those things, but then when the action's not applied and they don't get that thing, then they go back to that, where am I? Look what I got. And then when they hit the now, which is what happens, they start realizing, and then they go back again. So it can be a bit problematic if, you know, the idea of daydreaming is quite a powerful tool for us to have. It's the same as dreaming as a whole or sleeping. We can create great ideas, and then it's within our power, I feel, to engage in these things, to be able to actually go, okay, is this plausible? Is this reasonable? Is this something I want to engage in? And if it is, action plan. You know what I mean? Like, and unfortunately, I don't feel that I'm not 100% successful in it. Nowhere near. Nowhere near, but I can honestly say that I've been in many positions where I've pondered over things for too long, keep sparking in my brain, think of something, change a job, or I want to do this, or I want to engage in Chinese herbal medicine a lot more. Do you know what I mean? Or I touch base, or this is the other side, which I've done a lot, is I get a spark and I think, oh, yeah, great, and I've touched base with it, but I won't fully integrate into it and give it my all because I've got 10 things going at once. Yeah. Rather than actually giving my attention to 2 or 3 and really embracing that and empowering myself to take them up and feel the difference rather than take 10 things on and sometimes this has been a trait of mine many, many years ago, and something that I have to work on is where I used to touch things and then I quit them. And quit them. You know what I mean? Things, oh, it's not working, I quit them. You know what I mean? Not even get to the stage of attempting it, giving it my all and going, oh, okay, look, it failed, but at least I tried. Like, not even getting that far or nowhere near, do you know what I mean? Which is a completely different concept. And it's that whole mask of positivity thing going on. I think we can cheat ourselves quite easily.
I feel like people in general are like, jack of all trades, master of none. Don't know if you heard that phrase. But I feel like people are like that. They're doing too many things and I feel like every human has come here to be a master at what they're good. Their natural personality strength, which we all have, you are a master at something. Everybody is. Everybody's special in the sense of we have a master at something. But what people do wrong is they don't commit to focusing and maximizing their mastery of one thing. That might not be their fault. It might be the matrix. It might be they got a wife and kids too early. It might be they never had a mentor. It might be they never had the opportunity to wake up. But that's what I feel like. What you're saying is we need to just, as much as possible, and I'm not perfect either, but I think me and you have come a long way, and we can speak on focusing on one thing and getting really good at that whilst, learning other things, but just becoming, really going full leather at just one thing. And then you will connect to the ether. You will become a happier, you will become a healthier, you will become what you were meant to be here for, which is to give your gift, which is the mastery of, the connection of what is universal, which is universal. Information is universal, but we talked about creativity. I think creativity is universal, but I also think it's unique to you and me and our egos. And I mean ego from a healthy point of view. So my ego is creative in a different way to your ego, not in a bad way. And that creativity, actually, the creativity that, say I created a piece of music, that's really inspiring. You could argue that's actually egotistical because someone needs to appreciate that as a really good work of art, which is, that piece of music. Do you know what I mean? It's everything in the realm is technically ego, even the universal insights we have, I believe. Like when you say that I woke up this morning and I was dry fasting, I did a lucid dream and I learned a lot about myself and I created a masterpiece, and even my Facebook posts, it's all trying to impress, not impress, I think that's the wrong word for it. It's just creativity is, it's a higher form of consciousness, but I think it's still at a level of perhaps, I don't know, maybe it's ether, maybe it is ether a little bit, but I also think it's ego as well as ether. Don't know if you agree with that one, but
I would say personally that ego is very important and it's totally misunderstood, and until I'm corrected on this, which I'm going to be very biased and say I doubt I am going to be corrected on it. It's very much needed. It is very much needed in this realm. Anyone who's trying to cheat themselves from getting away from their ego, good luck. And I hope it's not going to be too painful for you, because you ain't going to get rid of your ego full stop, because you need it. Otherwise you'll be a vegetable, or you'll be less than a vegetable. And again, language is a big deal. There is no positive or negative with the ego. Actually, the ego, personally, in my eyes, will give you the best of whatever it is you're feeding it, as in information. You know what I mean? It will keep you in a safe space, and it will do the best it can at what you want it to do, what you teach it. It will give you 100% always.
I like it. Like you're saying, like a little pet. Look at it like your pet. You're like a pet dog almost. Like you want to nurture it. You want to nurture it in a positive way. Look after it, feed it, and in a nice way, instead of beat the shit out of it, which most people do. Most people like beat the shit. The self-talk people have got going on nowadays is crazy. Like, I hate myself. I can't do this. I can't even do simple things. And that's just beating the shit out of your ego dog, isn't it? Like, why are people doing that, man?
And this is the problem. That's a very, very good point. And this is the problem with smashing your ego to pieces and trying to run away from who you are, because you are who you are at the present moment always, because that's who you are. Get with it, come on. But by chucking in information like that to yourself, and for example, oh, I'm useless, or I'm this, or I'm that, negative, if you want to call it, the ego is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So it will play accordingly what you feed it. So you think you're shit, your ego will make you shit. Do you know what I mean? If you want to call it that, to use my language. It's not the ego was never the problem, and it never will be the problem. It's your connection to the mind hive and the information that you've drawn off of that in that library and you've stored in your bank, and you replicate. The ego just does exactly what it's supposed to do. If that's what you're feeding it, that's what it's going to give out, and it will give it out in the best way possible. Always. It's not going to go. It's not going to wake up when you wake up and go, I'm just going to run on 40% today. Yeah, about it. He's feeling shit. I'll run on 30% today. That's cool. It don't work like that. It will give you 100% always. Yeah. So yeah, definitely the connection to the ether and the ego and shadow work, which we spoke on as well. This is something that I feel is very much connected to the ether as well. Shadow work, being able to declutter, defragment in a big way, so we can become light, so we can reach higher, so we can stay in higher frequencies for a longer period of time, as well as reach higher frequencies. I feel like many of us have reached particular frequencies but can't actually maintain that frequency for too long, because it goes way beyond nutrition. Can be partly nutritional, but I'm more gunning towards the fact that you're holding way too much weight in the emotional box, in the low frequency to ultra low frequency vibes that you have going on, which and the boundaries that you've created from a young age, and you haven't disengaged from yourself. So into the ether, I'm trying to keep this in with dry fasting as well. Don't really need to. I mean, well, we do, but dry fasting with this, I'm jumping here, but dry fasting with this, even in the last 2 days that I've been doing recently, and I've been hitting relatively high hours with the dry fasting, and it's been quite nice.
How many did you do? You said you did 9. You were happy to share that information? You can share it if you want.
19 hours, both days.
19 hours. That's quite a lot, mate. It's nearly a day.
That's a lie. Less today, 19 hours the day before. But my body in that space of time, because I'm playing around with food, maybe it's something I'll talk about at a later stage. But first of all, my body reacted to particular types of food quite aggressively in a matter of minutes. And in the first day, for example, my mental clarity started dropping quite rapidly around 1 o'clock. I almost had it's almost like there's, I can't really describe it, it's around the spinal area. You can feel like something's being extracted around those areas, around the liver kidneys. I'm not 100% sure what was going on.
Do you mean extracted in a bad way or a good way? Is it coming out or is getting staining? Poison's going in? Coming in or out?
Things were moving as if it was coming out. And it was, I wouldn't say really uncomfortable, but it wasn't like nice feeling. But it was a good thing. It was almost like, because the second day, and it's only literally the second day, same sort of thing. But didn't feel as much. I got used to it quite quickly, to be honest. Maybe that's just my body and where I am with my health. But on a nutritional basis, dry fasting was very interesting. And what I found is that, thinking about it, maybe it's the space I was in at the time as well, but I haven't been too busy in my head, funny enough. Like, I haven't had a lot going on in my brain where I've been super uncomfortable or out of sync or too weighty like that. I've been actually okay. So it'll be quite interesting. I have to register that tomorrow. But also, I've definitely been more focused on wanting to breathe, because I know that my connection with food has been quite a big thing for years. And so letting go of that is allowing me to free up energy to focus on some of the primary elements that we have abundantly free to us. So breathing was something that I was focusing on quite a lot, and another thing that I'm trying to do a lot more of, and takes a bit of time if you're connected to your phone too much, and I do have my phone on me all the time, is to not look at my phone. Is to stop looking at my phone. You know what I mean? Actually stop, get off of it, and be where you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like a dopamine high, bro. It's like a dopamine high all the time. Like Facebook as well, for me, that's my weakness. Get my dopamine high. Like notifications come up, you like click, 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 and you know, it's like a drug, like a fucking drug. These things, you know.
Yeah, totally. So that's and that's a big deal. I'm not sure. I'd like to know a little bit more on that. Actually, being with technology and in this process of fasting, I don't think it's too great. It's something that almost you're in sync, and then you go out of sync when you're on a phone, and then you come back in sync. You know what I mean? It's out, and then.
You know what I think as well? Fasting is good in all aspects, not just in dry fasting, but in fasting from technology as well, or fasting from like you do, like deleting people and having your space, like every now and again clearing out your friends list, like this kind of fasting is underrated. Like fasting from, you know, from these dopamine highs of even porn fasting, you know, all these things, fastings are like really important, really important.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I'll just touch base on a few more things that was going on about. So some people can also tap into the surrounding energy system using meditation, which is what we were talking about. You may have friends and family members that you talk to often. Perhaps you meet someone new and just contact with them instantly. You find that when talking to these people, ideas and different thought patterns are created. This is both of your receivers connecting and intertwining with each other. Your connections complement each other, are boosted and work together. Sometimes you may be working on a complex problem and cannot come up with the fix. You pop out for a walk, again, another form of meditation. You have some dinner or start talking to a few other people. When you sit back at your desk, the answer to your problem just falls out of your head. So what I'm trying to connect with these things that we're speaking of here is how, and I'm with it. I feel that actually the more I'd love to get to a stage where I can actually, you know, there's many brothers like yourself, Brian, Roslyn, there's many people on there, Amanda, are doing incredible fasts, you know, not just dry fasting, but really putting themselves out there and being, say, role models, literally, on attempting to, and John, unfooding, as he says, you know, and really allowing your body to become more in sync. And now's the stage where, which has been so amazing to do this 5-part series with you, is to really engage with the 5 elemental currencies now, which are freely abundant, you know, and we really need to start executing how and pushing these currencies to the limit, which I don't feel we do. You know, we touch base on grounding, air, fire, water, and the ether, and the benefits, you know, alone from those elements, and then implementing dry fasting, you know, and we got quite a lot out of that, so much so that we could probably do more episodes if we really wanted to in the next couple of months.
Yeah, we could talk forever. Yeah,
definitely. It's so. What do you want to? What do you want to say to? How are you benefiting from? Because you just started kicking on meditation again. What is it that you're seeing the benefits of now with dry fasting in particular?
Well, I've been off dry fasting, if I'm being honest. Since I left you, I've been on red light therapy, which was the part 4 we did. So I'm big on the red lights. I've been doing that every morning, getting up at dawn, and not doing dry fasting, because now I'm doing charging the water at sunlight sunrise, the distilled water. So I'm drinking more. But I will say this, like, if you do think about the body and mind as a system, body is mind and mind is body. So when we do meditation, we're silencing the mind, which helps silence the body. Now, when we combine meditation with dry fasting, which is, by the way, if you guys don't know, one of the most powerful things you could ever also do, it's free, it's easy. You're quietening the body when you dry fast, but you're not just quietening the body, you're also quietening the mind. So that's how they work synergistically to me. They go hand in hand. And that's why when you combine both of these elements, or even all four of the elements, the 5 elements we talked about, what you're doing is you're creating like a Kundalini experience of connecting to the ether, to the source. You're making your vibration so much higher. You're tackling it from the mind with meditation. You're tackling it from the body with dry fasting, and they work synergistically anyway. But when you combine, like you did on your dry fast, you said you were doing breath work. Well, guess what? I'd argue you don't even need to do that, because dry fasting is powerful. But if you did have the discipline to do what you did, well, guess what? You just amplified your state and brought yourself to a high level of vibration and consciousness and ether through your own discipline, because you want to experience the best version of yourself. And I hope the audience do too. And how do you do that? By stacking all the 5 elements we talked about. It's not just, you can, what I do is I focus, I've got to the point now where I can do 2 or 3 at a time. So can you, but maybe some people can't, which is fine. Just learn grounding, do that daily and get it a habit. Then do the urine therapy or whatever water you're taking, this quality water, not tap water. And then do the pure air, go out to the beach as much as possible, do breath work, whatever, and then start doing dry. You don't have to do them all together. If you're a beginner, you just do them one process, learn one, make it a habit, then you build another one, and then you build another one. And you don't even have to do all of them. Like I said, I'm not doing dry fasting right now. I'm experimenting with other things like water. So you don't have to do everything together. But when we do, oh my God, I mean, I'm excited about what I'm becoming, because I'm like 0.1% of who I am and what I know. It's not what I know, actually. I'm 0.1% of what I could be, because I'm not done all the disciplines to my full extent. But boy, isn't life just fucking great when you're on the journey of the 5 elements and fucking vibrating, man, to a higher level of frequency.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. And it seems to be just opening up more and more doors now. I was just about to say that I'm kind of gutted that I didn't touch base on fasting from a younger age, but it's a comment that's not needed, first of all, and actually I'm very, very lucky, because something has passed me along the route of fasting, and as a recommendation to anybody, but ultimately myself, it's been an absolute privilege to be able to touch base with it and to want to see the experiences from it, and it is really all about upgrading that, and taking things to the next level, because there are higher levels to what we can achieve and who we can be as spiritual beings and as a collective. And you don't need me to recognize that. You've just got to look outside every bloody day and just know that something is not quite in sync. And it's like, we've really got to come back to basics, and the 5 elements are there. You know what I mean? They are there. They are freely available for everybody. And this is something that we really do need to start taking the reins on. And it just so happens that we've been talking about dry fasting, connecting these together, which is a very, very powerful protocol that Mr Harry Matadeen has been doing. And again, we've just had a massive pleasure. I've had a massive pleasure, and you guys have, watching these videos of sharing his experience and being able to engage and crack as much information out of him as possible. So that being said, there is a few more bits and pieces, but to be honest, I think we touched base on a lot of it.
Just before we go, I'd like to say thank you very much for having me at your house a few weeks ago. It was an absolute pleasure to do those. I enjoyed them so much, bro, and this last one too. And we are going to be visiting more people too as well. So I'm very excited. I'm very happy to know you as a person and to watch yourself grow as a human being. I got a lot more. I learned a lot more about you, the real you, and just like you probably learned a lot more about the real me. And visiting, and seeing someone in the flesh. And I appreciate you letting me in and learning from you, bro. Because you got, you're a master of what you are, and I'm a master of what I am, and I'm always learning. So thank you very much for letting me in and being yourself, bro.
Yeah, totally, and appreciated, and much love for that. It was privilege having you over. And again, just shared knowledge. You know, whether you realise it or not, even though you should do. That's why I'm doing fasting, because the energy was delivered. That's how it works. You know, the input was in place, and I was like, let's do this.
Yeah.
I gave it a go. Do you know what I mean? And it's that's how.
A lesson in that. The quick one is a lesson in that, because you didn't do it when I was there. It took a while, so you don't have. You can be inspired by someone, not in the moment. It doesn't mean you have to take action in that moment. You can wait, let it simmer, but that person has had an influence on you somewhere. So there's somewhere down the line you'll be like, okay, now I'm ready. Just don't have to rush things. Like, you know, let it organically rise.
Absolutely, yeah. That being said, I think we've come to an end, and it's again, it's been a pleasure. It's been amazing. I'm sure we'll catch up very soon in this year. We'll be seeing each other soon, actually, funny enough, in May, won't we?
Yeah, we will.
That should be exciting. But to everyone who's been watching this, thank you so much for sharing a space with us. It's been amazing. This is the Need to Know Crosstalk show. My name's Zeke Dorset. This is Mr. Harry Matadeen. Dry fasting with the Aether. Part 5 of a 5-part series. Over and out. Wholeness to everyone. Thank you so much.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.